Hello and welcome to Pogi's Podcast, and today we've got Juan Percent, also known as Sean, on with us. Hello, Sean.
Hello. How's it going?
So we were discussing life in general, weren't we? Before
Much,
started, and sorry, this port's amazing.
I do right now.
Where did we get to? You're asking if I felt like I've achieved in comparison to other people.
Yeah, do you feel like you're satisfied with your performance over the last 10 years?
I mean, I can look about and I can say, I have a car, I'm still breathing, I still have all my limbs, and to some people that's an achievement in itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think achievement is kind of subjective to.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because it's like, you take some like Vietnam farmer, right? Achievement to him would be like his rice paddy has yielded like 12 bags of rice this year, and you look at somebody in America and it's like their idea of achievement is they're living in a 6-bed mansion, and they're Instagram famous. So it's like, I mean, if I was to say in comparison to like the people I grew up with, I'm not too sure, because I know quite a lot of the folk we knew. Some of them have got kids now, and some of them have crippling narcotic addictions, and it's like, I don't have any children, and I don't think I'll be having them anytime soon. But I also don't have, I'm not addicted to heroin, so it's like, I suppose I've achieved better than some, but not as much as most.
I mean, on the contrary, I think some people would say you're winning on all accounts.
Mm-hmm.
You're babyless and you're addictionless, so you're winning, right?
Yeah, I did hear that babies do bring happiness, but they also bring empty pockets. So it's like, it's like, do you want to continue your family's legacy, or do you want to be poor? It's like, because this is something.
It is a conundrum.
Yeah, because this is something I've always wondered. Because I've looked at my parents. They had me when they were 21, 20, 21. So like they spent their younger years basically raising us, but it's gotten to the point now where like I'm old enough to like go out drinking, and basically I'm an adult now, but they're still at an age, like they're 40, they're still at an age where they can they can still do the stuff, most of the stuff they were doing when they were younger, and I feel like that's something I'm going to miss out on, is if I do have kids, I won't be able to do the things with them that my parents got to do with me. Because, I know some people that have kids when they're like late 30s, 40s, and they're 50 when their kid's turning 10, and it's like, you've only got 20 more years to go. Like, your kid's gonna be just leaving uni by the time you popped your clogs, and it's like,
my auntie was like 8 years old when, well, I think younger actually, maybe like 6 years old when I was born. Yeah, Like, she is a young woman. She's like my peer, basically. Although she does have the shit, you know?
Yeah, no, I get that. So it is, it's like... It's one of these things where I've kind of said to myself, if I'm going to have kids, I want the cutoff line to be like 24. Like if I get older than 24, I don't think I'll be too keen on having kids.
You think, really?
Oh. Yeah.
Interesting.
Just because I feel like I'll be getting... Like, I know it's not too old. Like, I know, I would say probably mid-30s. That's when you kind of stop having kids. But like, for me, I've always wanted to have kids young. But
I get that.
It's like... It is, do you, you know, give up your youth to raise the kid, to spend your adulthood with basically just a young version of yourself?
Yeah.
Or do you have your youth, you go out, you go partying or taking drugs or whatever it is that people our age do, and you know, you die watching your kid turn 30. It's like, it's I think it's a personal thing.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I mean, I was going to say before you mentioned it, that you basically have to choose between whether you want to have your youth to yourself, or do you want to sacrifice your youth so that your later years are with your older children, you know?
Yeah.
And, I mean, I have a different opinion from you. I do believe that you should have children maybe a little bit older, probably in your 30s.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just because, I mean, my mum had me when I was she was 25.
Yeah.
And I always felt like maybe that was not the best decision. Could have waited a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just my personal opinion, you know.
Yeah, because I think it definitely varies from household to household. Like, I know that people that are younger than us, and you know, their parents are pushing their mid-50s, and it's like, I think it would be difficult for me, because I've grown up with such, and I hate to use the word, but such like hip parents. Like, my dad came up the stairs the other day and burst through my brother's door and called him a Yowie boy. I don't know what was worse, the fact that he said that or the fact that he knows what Yowie is, because I definitely didn't tell him. So it's like,
yeah,
I've grown up with like, I've grown up with like just big kids.
I get you.
And so it's like, it'd be difficult for me to imagine having a like, I don't know, like socialise, I suppose, with somebody older who's not really in touch.
Yeah.
But then again, like, you could say the same fact that, you know, there's people in their 40s and 30s now that are way out of touch with the Zoomers and
they're
stuff.
still having kids.
And they're still having kids. It's like,
oh, definitely. I think it all comes down to like personal shit, you know.
Yeah,
personal experiences. Because I was gonna say, like, I guess life happens, you know. That's how you'll know when you have kids. When your life is ready for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, you say 24 now, but I'm sure like later on down the line you might consider it, you know.
Maybe that's it. You don't know what tomorrow's going to be like.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what about yourself? Would you ever see yourself having kids in the sort of sense of having like a younger version of yourself and being able to teach them the things you wish you could teach yourself.
Yeah, I think half of me wants to say no, I don't want kids, and the other half says yeah, because But I think the biggest reason I'd want to have kids is just to do like the best job I could. I want to provide the best possible life for someone else.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not sure. It's very hard to think about.
Yeah, I think that because I've been told in the past that people think I'd make a really good dad, and
yeah.
I've laughed at it because like I'm like, are you sure? Like,
do you know me?
Do you? I'm pretty sure you've been there for some of the things I've done, but I suppose having kids is just kids having kids. Because you don't know what the fuck you're going into. It's just like, oh, I've got this small human now. What the fuck? Because that's it. There's not really a right way to raise a child. But obviously, like, you didn't blow it up and down the stairs and chuck out windows and stuff. But, there's not a right way to raise a child. There's definitely wrong ways, but I don't think there's a right way.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. There are definitely wrong ways.
Yeah.
I'm sure people I know, or even myself, have experienced some of those wrong ways.
Yeah.
Because that's just how life is, with the whole learning to parent and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's impossible to raise a perfect child.
Oh god, yeah. Definitely.
But it is possible not to fuck up so much that you have ruined a child, Well,
yeah, it's like you don't give it an AK and go, right, here you go and shoot up Serbians now, goodbye. Like,
welcome to Kosovo.
It's like,
very topical.
But it's like,
I mean,
no, I do get that. It's like you can't raise a perfect child. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. I will just point out that we did just alienate the entire Albanian viewership.
Don't worry, Albania is the greatest country, so...
I mean, they have enough bunkers to prove it, so
I mean, how many bunkers has Scotland got? Not as many as Albania, so...
Not enough.
Not enough. Not enough.
Need more.
When the Albanian uprising comes, we're not going to be safe.
King Zog the First. May he live forever.
Oh, rest in peace, King Zog. Imagine that was your name, though. That's a fucking name and a half. King Zog.
I would own it.
Yeah,
King Zog, what a great name.
Because, like, King Pigu, King Pogi, doesn't ring as well. King Joshua, nah, it doesn't work. King Zog, now that's like...
That's a name.
That's a name.
Right.
That is a name. King Mussolini, Emperor Mussolini. That's even better. Man. But, do you think if you were given the opportunity to run a country, like as a full monarchy / dictatorial sort of power, where nobody would oppose you, they would just do as they were told, would you take the opportunity to run that country?
This sounds very lame of me to say, but I feel like I have this fantasy quite a lot. I wouldn't call it a fantasy, I just call it like me thinking about how I would do things.
Thought exercise.
And I think I would definitely take the opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, even more so if it was in a earlier time period. If it was a medieval society or like a early modern society, because I think our modern perspective can really improve such situations.
Yeah.
I have no knowledge of agriculture in modern day.
Yeah.
But my very limited knowledge today is worth way more than they had back in, like, I don't know, the year 1000 BC.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I get that. So you could go back to times before and be like a god figure to these primitive humans, or you could be,
God King Doyle.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I think we all kind of have these
fantasies.
Yeah, these power fantasies. I think that's human nature to want to be in control. Because control is safe. It's you know what's going on, so it's safe. And I think I probably have them a bit more than the next person. Because like I sit and I'm like, bro, I could run this country way better than so and so are. I could do that better, but in reality, it's like people. Well, my perception is people don't really understand the, as you say, like I don't fucking know how logistics of international trade work. I don't know how to milk cows. Like you take me back to.
I'll teach you.
King. Oh, is this the blindfold game again? I like that.
I save that for Jim.
But it's like you go back to like the Vikings and be like, yeah, you put seed in the ground, you water seed, tree comes out, and they're like, oh my god, and like, but you walk into a farm nowadays and you need like fucking NASA space engineer degree to figure out how the fuck to suck a cow's milk out. It's like,
legit, yeah.
Damn. And I think that's going back to what we were discussing earlier. Probably that's where I don't feel like I've achieved to the point where like farming like in your mind you think farming's one of the most fucking basic primitive sort of lines of work, but even that is so complex and diverse. So it's like, what skills do I actually have that are useful in the modern world?
I mean, compared to me, at least you can drive a tractor.
Bro, anybody can drive a tractor. Anybody can drive a tractor. Those things are easy, man. Don't worry about it.
Their max speed limit.
Yeah, but that's easy to get rid of. You just keep stamping it until it goes past the brake. Yeah, man, you just get rid of the brakes, you stick a turbo in it, and then you shoot up and down the A9 in your Porsche tractor.
Yeah.
It's like
sounds good to me.
It's like when I was in the construction business, we were up in Perth. We had a site up in Perth, and it was mental. You'd go up there, right, and you'd see these farmers just like cutting about in their tractors, and you just see them driving up and down the fields, and then they would just fucking get out and get into like Range Rover Vogues, like top of the range cars, and you're like, what the fuck? Government subsidiaries, man. They're doing quite well for them.
I mean, I heard that's how they survive sometimes, though. I mean, in America, for example, I mean, they only survive via the subsidies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's what makes me wonder. Is like, what happens when what happens if the government just decides like, yeah, no, we're not going to be paying your debts anymore? Because like, if you look at the farmers that are driving about in their, their Range Rovers and their Mercedes and all that, like obviously you see them and you're like, oh well, that's all fine and dandy, you know, I could be a farmer and do that, but what you don't see is the stacks and stacks of debt that like their granddad or their great granddads had. Because like if you think back to even World War II, so that's like what, people in their 90s now, so that's great grandparents. So that's two generations of like hard labour and debt that's just been building up, and yet all these farmers are cutting about in Porsches and Range Rovers, and it's like, how long does that last?
I mean, once you own the farm, I guess it lasts forever.
Oh,
Until agricultural prices drop.
well, that's the thing. Some farmers, right, they get paid for just having land, and
Yeah.
it's like, what the fuck? What? It's like, so, what was it? I was looking at properties because, you know, I had fuck all else to do, and I was looking at land, and there was like 18 acres of land, but there was no planning permission. You couldn't get planning permission, so you couldn't build anything on it because it was like registered. I can't remember from working in the building industry. Basically, you weren't allowed to build on it for a certain amount of time because it was registered as like grazing, even though the farmer didn't own any livestock. He got paid because he had an area for grazing animals, and it's mental. I just thought it was crazy.
It really is. I mean, animal agriculture is really destroying our world.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. I mean, look at the rainforest. They're cutting it down to make fields, but that's not to keep the cattle. That's just to make the food to feed the cattle, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like 70% of food that's grown on the planet is fed to cows and pigs and sheep. It's ridiculous.
This is why, you know, vegans get a lot of hate, and you know, I can kind of understand why, because a lot of vegans that even I know personally are wankers, and no offense to not all vegans are like that, right? But like a lot of them, you get this like stereotype in your mind of like, oh, you eat meat, you're like killing the planet. And you know, I don't disagree with that. And like, I actually am quite glad that the vegans exist, because it means that I don't have to be a vegan. You know what I mean?
I get you, yeah.
It's like, I don't think I could go without my quarter pounder of cheese from McDonald's. You know?
I've done it, and let me tell you, takeout becomes impossible.
Bro, I just...
you just have to eat at home every day, and it's pretty fucking bland.
I think the
I mean,
problem...
the reason I stopped my experiment of being vegan is just because I want a McDonald's.
I think that is, as well, the biggest problem I would have with being vegan is the price. Because... Don't get me wrong, right? If you're making stuff at home, it's not that bad. But like, see if you're out and you're on your lunch break and you've not made something, and you're like, fuck, I need to get something. You go into like Tesco's or something, and all the vegan stuff is so expensive. And I know it's getting better now, but I remember back in the day when a vegan chicken sandwich was like fucking £5. And you're like, Jesus, man.
Well, it is in most places.
But I have to say, because you know, I know a few people that are kind of vegan, like they're veggies, and you know they'll try and be vegan as much as possible. And I know a lot of the food they're eating is quite decent. But I could never. I've yet to find vegan meat that I'm actually like fond of. Because I had vegan bolognese, and I was like, nah. You just tell the difference.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, especially since since a tea and stuff, we eat a lot of vegan or vegetarian food, and I have to say that like vegan imitation meat and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't compare. It is a completely different product, and it tastes different and has a different texture.
Yeah,
I like vegan bolognese, but it's not the same. It's a completely different food. Its taste is different. Its texture is different. Yeah, I like both of them, but I prefer regular bolognese just because it has a better taste and better texture.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only vegan alternative I've actually enjoyed. No, that's a lie. One of there's only two that can come to mind. The first one is vegan pulled pork, and instead of using pork, they use jackfruit. And oh my god, it was good. It wasn't like pulled pork, right? I'm not gonna lie to you. It was nothing like the normal pulled pork I had, but it was good. Like the taste was amazing. The texture was like, as if you replace the pulled pork with pulled steak, it was like really tough, but it wasn't like tough to the point where it was like I'm chewing a bit of leather. It was like I don't know how to explain it. Like the texture was just perfect, and it didn't taste any different, because when you have pulled pork, you don't really taste the pork. You know, you just taste the barbecue.
Yeah.
Or whatever other fucking. I've only ever had barbecue pulled pork.
Fair enough. It's the best one.
It's like, what else could you do? Buffalo, I suppose.
Yeah, buffalo. Some other stuff. Just depends.
Yeah.
I hate buffalo personally.
I remember having buffalo once, and I remember it being spicy. Am I wrong?
I'd say it's a little bit spicy, but it's mostly I'd say savoury. You know.
It must have been
I've only had it on wings, so you know.
I think it was spicy buffalo wings I had, and I think I enjoyed it. But I also think I was extremely intoxicated at the time, so. Yeah, it's like I'll eat anything, and I'll definitely eat anything if I've had a drink. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a student bar. It was like 12 wings for $2.50, and I dumped like buffalo and half those wings. And I mean, it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. You know, it was definitely like an okay experience. But I have to say that the ghost chili hot sauce was way better.
Oh man, we've got some.
That was some good stuff.
We've got some Franks sitting in the fridge downstairs. So I think I'm gonna have a bowl of nudes, some damning ramen with a bit of Franks drizzled on top. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be tomorrow's probably breakfast at this point, considering it's 4 to 2.
I'm jealous. I have no noodles of my own.
Oh, man, I could eat noodles like for every meal. That is a fact. Noodles every meal.
As a student, that has happened to me, and let me tell you, it wears off quickly.
Nah,
give it a few days, and you're feeling like you want some extra.
But that's the thing with noodles is it's so easy to make extra. Like you could put pork in it, you could put beef in it, you could put chicken in it, you could put veg in it. I'm out of pork already. Oh my god, I've just finished it.
I've had 4 beers.
Oh, bro. Yeah, that's not good. I've had an entire bottle of port. I can't even feel it yet.
No.
No, but what's worse is the only thing left is whiskey.
Is what?
Is whiskey.
Yeah. Yo, crack open the vault.
It's already open,
We're
isn't it, from last night?
We're gonna be here. We got some conversations to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Bro.
I've got some more beers. We can go. You go.
Keep going. So I found out not that long ago, like maybe 2 or 3 days ago, just before the new year, that you're supposed to serve port as if it was like a spirit. So you're supposed to give like a really like kind of almost a mouthful per serving.
But like shit.
Yeah, like a whiskey drum for the people that don't know what port is. It's basically really strong wine, or at least that's as best as I could describe it.
It's a wine gum, I've heard.
Yeah, it's like a wine gum. It's like really sweet wine. It's like if whiskey and red wine had a love child. But the love child was kind of well-mannered and polite. That's what port is. It's an old man's drink. And,
Sounds good to me.
What was that?
Sounds good to me.
You know what? It's probably one of my, if not the favourite drink. If you're drinking it, you can't drink anything else. Like you can't mix it with anything. Like you can't have a glass of port and then beer. You'd have to have a beer and then drink port for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
But that's like just my opinion. I don't know what people. I know, drinking different alcohols is normally frowned upon. It's like you don't do that unless you want to vomit all over your.
I mix drinks like no one's business. I'll drink anything.
I had two bad encounters whilst mixing alcohol, and I am terrified to do it ever since.
You see, I had the same thought, but I read that actually it doesn't matter at all. I read a scientific report about it, that it doesn't actually impact you the way it does. They say it does. So I decided to just drink whatever the fuck I wanted.
I suppose it's a.
Although, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I suppose it's like a placebo effect.
Mm.
You feel like you're drinking more.
Yeah, I will say though, I wouldn't mix spirits and any other alcohol. I wouldn't drink 50% whiskey, 50% beer.
No.
I would stick to beer and cider and cocktails, and then or have spirits. I wouldn't have both because I feel like personally, spirits kind of upset my rhythm.
Yeah. Okay. See, I can mix, but it's only if it's I actually forgot how to do maths there. I was going to say 80-40, but it's 80-20. So you start off with beer, or a lager, or something like a session drink, and you kind of, at the end of the night, you have a few drams of whiskey, or you have I don't fucking know. What else do you really class? Because you don't really have just a glass of vodka. That's kind of frowned upon.
I guess you kind of mix it with soda.
Yeah, you mix it with something else. I've only just drank vodka straight once or twice. Excuse me, but it's vodka is one of these things where it's you never see people just drinking it. There's obviously you get a Jack Daniels and Coke. You can and a rum and Coke. but you can also have whiskey and rum as its own drink, I suppose is the best way to say it. And it's like, I know with whiskey, especially, there's almost a ceremony, quote unquote, that you have when drinking whiskey. So you've got the glass, and you can add ice to it, and then you like swish it round, and you sniff it, and you take a drink.
You play with it a little bit.
You play with it a little bit. You take it to, a movie and all that shit. But whereas vodka, it's just like, I don't know if it's just because it's cheap, but it feels like a vodka just feels like a cheap drink to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think it has a reputation in the UK. You know, people who drink it, they're not gonna drink it by itself. It's gonna be mixed with something cheap, probably like a cheap Coke or like a fruit drink, like a blackcurrant.
Fucking Glens and Bar. Glens and Bar.
Yeah. Although I feel like I've heard in Russia, for example, that they either drink it straight or it's with tap water, because they believe if you drink it with tap water, you don't get a hangover. Which
I'll believe it when I see
might
it.
be true. I mean, tap water hydrates you, right? But I feel like the vodka kind of counteracts that. So.
Yeah, I suppose. So it'd be like you're not drinking anything. Just cancels it out.
I need to ask my babushka.
That's it. They just drink a bunch of kvass when they wake up.
Kvass, yeah.
That's the weird berry cola, isn't it?
I think it's the one made with the rye bread.
That's it. I've seen raspberries in it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so. Like I know in Moldova, which used to be part of the USSR, they're very into their wine. You know, all the babushkas, they grow their own grapes and they make their own wine and shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. My granddad used to make his own wine. Fun fact. Yeah. I've never tried any. I just remember as a little boy saying these growlers sitting on top of this cabinet, fucking coated in dust. Like I mean, like a layer thick of dust. So fucking God knows, like, because they were up there until like after he passed away, they were up there.
Yeah.
So they were probably like just fucking pure ethanol by the time they got rid of it.
Do you have a taste?
No,
some
I haven't got the chance.
Some of that ethanol.
I did get to try the burning ethanol in school though, but I'm positive they watered that shit down.
Considering you're still here.
Considering I can still see, yeah, that's they probably it was the area that we were in, so they probably thought that ahead of time.
I just remember hearing, "Sir, Josh has swallowed some ethanol. What do we do?"
I thought we got away with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is before we knew each other, you know? I'd never spoke to you before that, and I was just like, who the fuck is drinking ethanol?
Was that before or after I set the gas taps on fire?
I think it was before.
Yeah.
What was it? I don't know.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was before. God, man, I miss chemistry. Chemistry was good.
Yeah, I just miss school.
Yeah, I think I miss school. Things were a lot easier back then.
I had more friends.
Wow. Okay, then I'll just fucking go. Don't worry
I'm
about
only
it.
friend now.
I heavily doubt that.
I mean, I consider you like a true friend. I'm gonna lie. I mean, I hope that no one I know is watching this, because I mean, who knows at that point?
I very much doubt it, man. There's like 3 people that are gonna see this. This is just for me. This is just for us. It's just something we can look back on and laugh at.
Is this fat material? Future fat material?
I just want recordings of your voice. You've caught me.
That's what I'm looking for.
You caught me. It's just to hear your glorious voice in 4K ray tracing. Yeah.
Oh god. Ray tracing on an audio file.
Nearly fucking poured all over my desk there, thanks. But, yeah. School was an experience and a half. It was
Definitely.
I think what I miss most is probably the library.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why, but that's... See, when I think about school, that's the first thing that comes in my head. Everybody rushing to the computers to sit next to one of their pals.
Yeah.
And I remember... Oh, man. I remember that's when I was shown Happy Wheels was in the library. That was the first time I ever played Happy Wheels.
You know, in the library was the first and only time I had heard about, what's it called? Meatspin.com. I was like, what the fuck is this, like, fourth year talking about? I obviously knew it was, like, a piss take. I knew it was gonna be. I'm not that... wasn't that oblivious.
Yeah.
But I was like, why is he trying to convince this, like, fourth year girl to, like, search meatspin.com on her computer? Like, what does he gain from that?
Oh, God.
But then I learned the birds and the bees.
Wait. Do you not get that primary school?
No, I had a Mennonite church growing up, so, you know.
Bro.
It's the Catholic education.
I went to a Christian school. It wasn't Catholic. It was just like Christian. So like we sung praise every like week and all that shit. But we got kind of the puberty talk in P6. So I think that's what age are you then? If you're like 10?
11, 10, yeah.
11, 10. You got that. You got the like. This is what your body's doing. Don't be scared.
This is a penis.
It's okay to touch your penis. It's like feel, think, do. That was it. Feel, think, do.
Oh god.
And then once you're like P7, which is like you're 11 to 12, 12 to 13. That's when you're the real raunchy stuff. Like this is what sex is. This is what it means when your pee goes hard and like your pee is not stored in the balls and all that shit.
David has a poster of Nicki Minaj on his wall. David masturbates to Nicki Minaj, and you should too, because there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Bro.
That was the video we got shown. Was this guy? He had a poster on his wall. It wasn't Nicki Minaj. It was
it wasn't on his wall. It was on the ceiling.
On the ceiling, yeah.
It was on the ceiling. I fucking remember that video.
Some blonde chick. I can't remember who it was.
Oh god, I know what you're talking about now. I can see it in my mind.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
To think, that was almost 10 years ago.
Don't remind me, man.
That's half my lifespan. I'm dying next year.
I don't plan on making it to my 21st, bro.
Man, what are we going to do?
Glasses up. Well, that's me now officially out of port. So.
Okay. I'm 5 alcohols down as of now.
Probably could go and get more, but I can't be fucked. So.
You wanna get more? I'll go get more if you want.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. We'll just
you sure?
Going. Yeah, I'll power through. Because, like, as I say, now that I've finished the port. Okay, right then, that's fine. That's fine. Just leave me to, like, trying to entertain the two people watching this. Oh.
Yeah, I'll keep talking. Just I'm gonna be preoccupied.
Okay, I see. Beer, beer does take the top priority. I'll give you that.
It's number 3 on my list.
Number 3, damn. It's number 2 on mine.
You're number 2 on mine, so.
Oh, bro. You're number 1 on mine.
Oh. I mean, Tia's number 1 on mine, so.
Oh, well, that's fair enough. You have to say that, but we all know deep down.
I'm legally obligated.
Legal obligations say I must say that my girlfriend is first.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 1 second.
That's fine, take your time. But I know you can hear me still, so I'm going to ask a question whilst you have time to ponder.
Yeah.
Being in a relationship, would you say you enjoy having like that companionship, or would you say it's easier being like single and ready to mingle? Because I know for me personally, like having that companionship is almost like I don't know, like a safety net. It's like a reassurance. It's like a comfortable outlet you have where you can say what you want to them. You can see how you feel and they understand. Whereas like your friends might not quite get it, or it might be that you can't talk to your family about it because it's like one of these things you feel a bit awkward talking to your family. So basically what I'm saying is, with all the cons that come with a relationship, would you say the pros outweigh them?
I would say it depends on your characteristics, Because I mean, some parts of me, like I like being alone.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because I've always been alone in my life,
Yeah.
I've always liked to stare at a TV by myself and play games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say that those characteristics of me would say that being alone is better.
Yeah.
But as you said, there's things you can't really talk about with other people that you can talk about with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in my relationship, personally, everything's out in the open.
Yeah.
You can be not only just yourself, but you can be anything in front of the other person, because there's nothing to hide. I mean, there's nothing to be embarrassed about, nothing like that.
Yeah. Because I think I feel, in my experience of like relationships, it's like having another half of yourself. It's like, if you find the right person, it's your other half. It's like, because I know now with our group, like you kind of come as a package deal now.
Yeah.
And
not by choice.
You just get dragged everywhere. Fucking leash and collar.
Yeah, that's the way I like it. I'm kidding.
Oh god. But
I still have balls.
It's like I get that, where it's like you what's the word? You appreciate your partner's presence and you appreciate them being there.
Yeah.
But like sometimes you just need like that space. And it's not even necessarily like I need space from you. It's just I need space from everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difficult part, is explaining that I just need a moment from everything. Because if you spend that much time with your partner, then you kind of grow on each other and you grow to become codependent, I suppose. And I think that's a difficult place to be, because obviously you want to make sure the other person is, still feeling accepted and loved, but at the same time you've got to tend to your own needs, because at the end of the day, any relationship, whether it be a friend, a colleague, a boyfriend or girlfriend, a wife or husband, it works both ways,
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I will say that a lot of people talk about you becoming a we, and as you said, in our group we've become a we. But I think a very important distinction to make is that you're not a we. You are still individuals, and you have individual needs. And those needs do need to be met. And I don't mean like emotional needs or anything like that. I do mean like just having alone time, having your own lives, Instead of becoming one person with one opinion and one life, you need to be two people. You need to complement each other. You need to have everything. It needs to be a package.
A balance.
It can't just be a balance. Yeah, exactly. A balance. Otherwise, it will fall apart.
Yeah. I know.
I think a lot of people experience that.
Yeah, like I feel like some people, they thrive off the feeling of becoming one. Like they always have like a backup, or they always have a validation. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do think that it is, completely variable between person and person. So, like some couples that I know are basically complete individuals. Like you wouldn't even know that they were couples, but they remain loyal and they remain truthful to each other, but they still live their own lives. Whereas some other couples I know are like literally the same person, and obviously the ones in between, where they spend a lot of time together, but they also have their individuality. And I don't think that like what we said with having kids, I don't think there's a right way to have a relationship. I think it is what both people are looking for is what's best for them.
Exactly. A relationship won't last unless you have similar opinions or ambitions in life, There needs to be similarities. Otherwise it will perish.
Yeah. Like I think the first like proper relationship I had, like we were talking constantly, and I'm one of these people that doesn't mind that. Like I'll quite happily take like clingy, needy, and I'll quite happily also take like not messaging me for like 3 hours and it'd be like, wanna come cuddle? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So it's like, I don't really mind as long as they
love you.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I feel like looking at sort of our generation and I hate to use the word, but society fucking we live in, it's like that's becoming less and less important. And it's almost like I've noticed it more with Americans than I have with British people. But like everything America does, Brits need to like spoon feed it and get it like injected into themselves. I've noticed a lot of people like almost bragging about cheating on their significant other. I'm not sure if you've seen much of that, and it's like,
yeah.
And it's like it gives you kind of, I suppose, major anxiety. Because it's like, it's almost as if it's a trend, I suppose.
I think American society is very different from ours, but I think a lot of the core tenets are still the same. So I think, for example, like when it comes to relationships, for example, I think in some parts of America it can be very materialistic. But it can be the same in the UK, of course.
Yeah.
There's a lot of materialism going on, and it's very hard for both societies to find something more real, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Something that's more deep, something that's more animalistic, even. I don't really know how to word it.
I think I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like...
Just not society.
Yeah, I feel like people nowadays just don't know what it is they actually want.
I think we could both say that we feel that sometimes, Not when it comes to relationships, even. Just in the whole reality.
Yeah. I think that's just what humans are like, though, isn't it? It's just like, what is it I want to do? What is it that I want to be? Where is it that I want to go? It's not really one of these questions that has an answer.
We spend so little time on this earth that you'd think we'd know what we want, but we don't.
Yeah.
But I think that's the whole point, right? Is that we need to explore. It needs to be... I mean, we're still young. I hope so, anyway. I hope that we have, a long life to live, because there's so much we haven't seen.
Yeah.
There's so much we don't...
Yeah.
And I hope that you're here for the ride. I hope that, we're going to be friends for a long time, so that we can both experience this shit.
Yeah, man. I get that. There was a quote that I stole and put on that on Facebook. It was, or Instagram, or whatever the fuck. I can't even remember where I put it out. It was what was it? We gaze off. Do you ever have a dream where you could be what you could be? We often gaze upwards towards sky to find a greater purpose or power, staring longingly towards the stars in hopes of reaching something better, when quite often what we truly need is right under our noses. It's like you're constantly striving for like improvement, either with yourself or your surroundings. And I've done it countless times where like I've taken what I've had for granted. Because where we grew up, there was a lot of, for lack of a better word, poverty, I would say. And
I think that's... Yeah.
I was just about to say, you don't really take in, what you actually have around you, because that's, at the end of the day, no matter like how bad you have it, there's bound to be somebody who has it worse, I suppose.
Yeah. Somewhere. Yeah.
I think
if you're truly the worst off, then you're just really unlucky.
I think the quote I use most often when folk are talking about stuff being shite is they'll be like, well, it could be worse, you could be African. It's like
it can be true in some ways.
Yeah. That's one thing that's always boggled my mind, is the fact that Africa's the way it is still. Like I know it has a lot to do with the colonization and imperialism, but it is just like you look the whole kind of first world, third world divide, and that I don't know why that confuses me. Like why is it that people in like the Sahara are living in mud huts still, when people in Switzerland have got the best water, the best medication, the best technology.
Well, that's all to do with Nazi gold. But we won't get into that.
Hitler used gold storages.
Well, I mean, when it comes to like Africa, I mean, obviously, like I would say that imperialism still exists today. You know, I mean, 13 countries use what's called the Central African franc, although I think it's been split into two different currencies now.
Mm-hmm.
The West African franc and the Central African franc.
Mm.
But these currencies, they're African currencies. But I think about 50% of the reserves are held by France.
Mm.
So these former French colonies, they may not be, they may not be colonies anymore. They may be independent countries. But in certain ways, they're still influenced or held back by colonial powers. Imperialism. Because, I mean, if your currency is owned mostly by a foreign country, it's very hard to build a nation,
Yeah.
It's very hard to build your economy when France owns half of the economy's power.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm pretty sure France has the power to print more money, so you kind of hold the country's destiny in the powers of France, even if you are still independent.
Yeah. And do you think, personally, that these countries would be better off under like colony rule, obviously with better conditions that they were under like 100 years ago per se?
I'd say that some countries wouldn't be, but some countries probably would. Because I mean, let's say for example, Sahara nation. I don't know which one. Let's say Chad, for example. Or actually no, Niger may be a better example.
Mm-hmm.
A country that's mostly desert, doesn't have much natural resources. They're struggling. With their own economy.
Mm-hmm.
If they were a part of France, for example,
mm-hmm.
at least those citizens would be underneath French constitution,
Mm-hmm.
which would allow them to have certain rights, and it would force France to look after these people, and provide lives for them, provide subsidies, provide education, provide everything.
Yeah, the same as somebody in Paris or Normandy or something like that.
Exactly. I think back in the 1940s or earlier, when these countries were still colonies, obviously it would be worse off. But I think in the modern day, where we kind of force these standards upon everyone, that some places would be better under European rule. Not because of any reasons such as resource allocation or job opportunities or anything like that, but purely off because every citizen of a country deserves certain rights, and you can't have certain countries having peoples who are lesser, because that is unequal.
Yeah.
So I think that former French colonies would have different socio-economic norms today compared to 100 years ago, for example.
Mm. And so now for a bigger theoretical question.
Okay.
Do you think that the world as a whole would be better off under one governing body, or several governing bodies with one sort of main party, I should say, like, you know how the European Union, they're separate countries, but they're all under kind of one sort of, what's the word? I don't want to use union because it's in the fucking name, but you know what I mean? Like they're all part of one faction or group.
One union. That is the word, fam.
One union. Do you think that they would be better off as just one nation, or do you think they would be better off as several nations under one union, or do you think it's best that we just stay the way we are?
Well, I think, to begin with, I do think that the future of the European Union is to be mostly a centralised state between France and Germany. So I do think that if the European Union is to survive and become more than just an economic alliance, they will need centralisation. And currently Belgium is the centre of that centralisation.
Yeah.
But I think a more central location will be required, of course. So I do think that, like, the French-German border will be probably the best location for a more varied infrastructure. So we see cities like Mulhausen or Strasbourg, you know, places like that, or maybe even the Rhineland, becoming the centre of what we could see as a European governance.
Yeah. It's like we take the European continent and kind of just merge it into one body, is what you're saying, with like the Rhineland is like the kind of central hub.
No, I wouldn't say the whole continent would be centralised. Because I do think that for Europe to become a nation, or for Earth to become a nation, it requires certain conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, if we are the only people in the universe, if this is the only planet in the whole universe that is colonised, and there's no other planets that are colonised, then a unified world government, I would say, is impossible. But if, for example, Mars or other planets in our solar system were to become colonised, the United Earth government would become more plausible. Just because I do think that for a government to truly, for peoples to unite, they need to have a common enemy.
Yeah.
Or they need to have common goals. And I think that in our current climate, it's a bit hard to build these goals.
Yeah, I see that.
People are disunited.
But then again, what's to say if, say, we do colonise Mars, for example, what's to say they don't break into several factions and form different nations on Mars that are in constant, conflict like we are here on Earth?
Well, that would prove me wrong. You know, I would say the same thing applies to Mars, which is if there's a united Earth, there is a united Mars, because Mars and Earth will be in conflict.
Yeah,
because natural resources rule all. I mean, we see in Africa, even with colonization gone, and with everything, let's say we have a country that in Africa that is completely united in culture, in religion. If there is a problem, let's say a natural disaster, this does create tension, because it would create tension anywhere. Because these are lessons we need to apply. Is that in Africa, even though we have united countries, we don't have united peoples. Yeah. And we see it here in the UK. We have Scotland, Wales, and England. We have different interests, we have different economies, we have different peoples. We're united because of common goals, but the longer this goes on, the more we see the fractions.
Yeah.
We see, especially with Scotland and England, we have different opinions, we have different goals. Scotland wants to be independent. Well, some people do. And we could see a break, We could see a disunification. It all just depends on what we think is best,
Yeah, totally.
Human nature.
I do get that. It's one of these things I've often wondered, though. It's like, because you see in most media, that involves, extraterrestrial colonization. You have most of the time you have. Let's take the Expanse for example. So you've got the Earth, which is kind of a faction. You've got the Belters, who are like, they don't really have a home per se. They kind of just float about in space. And then you've got the Martians. And you can see it as well in Gundam as well. You've got kind of Earth, the space noise, Martians, and a lot of the time, media portrays these people as one nation and as one group. And it's like you say as well, they always have a common enemy. So there's always inner conflict between the two or the three or the four, depending on what media it is. And it's one of these things that's interested me, and the fact that although all these places are independent, like I always seem to single in on one, like Earth in the Expanse. That I think that's the United Nations it's under, is it not?
Yeah, like a United Nations government, yeah.
Yeah. So the UN in real life, UN we have nowadays, that's nobody really. It's not like everybody knows it, but I feel like not everybody knows exactly what it is. It's kind of like NATO in the fact that like people know NATO is like an army, but they don't really know exactly what NATO actually is.
Yeah, they don't even know what the name is,
Yeah.
They know the acronym.
Yeah, they know. Oh, NATO. That's the soldiers and stuff. And I think that's where my interests lie. Is kind of what would a United Nations or a NATO kind of Earth look like? What would it be like to have kind of a globalist's wet dream of the whole continent being run by the whole world, run by like one governing body? What would that look like? It's one of these things that's really interests me.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the European Union, they had certain countries deal with certain industries, if I'm aware. Because I know there was a big hubbub about the British steel industry being taken away because the EU decided that they were going to give the steel kind of production to Poland or something. I can't remember exactly, but it was something like that. And then that got me thinking about the Hunger Games, how they have the areas, and each area is like districts. That's it. The districts are industry specialised, so like one's like food, one's manufacturing and all that. And that often reminded me of the EU and how they deal with their dividing of production.
Yeah.
And so then that also leads me on to the whole globalization. Do you think it would be a district system, or do you think it would be like more of a specified area sort of deal, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Well, I do think in the globalized economy, certain countries have different specializations.
Mm-hmm.
So we see with China, it's all about manufacturing products because they have lots of natural resources.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have more service-based economies now in the West because we can't compete with third world economies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for example, Southeast Asia has the largest aquaculture in the world now.
Mm.
So a lot of our fish now comes from the Southeast Asia because they have the farms to keep up with production.
Yeah.
Because normal fisheries, people who go out and fish the seas, either they're overworking their seas or they're at their max.
Yeah.
There's no more room for growth in the fisheries, which means that a lot of our surplus fish is now coming from farms.
Mm.
And Southeast Asia, with its waters, have taken advantage of that.
Yeah.
So I do think that in a globalized economy, we do need that sort of district kind of mentality, where every kind of part of the world has its own specialization.
Yeah.
But I do think we need a bit of generalization to keep it healthy.
Yeah.
Every country should have its own service industry, should have its own. They call it tertiary industry, but that's basically science and research, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not tertiary, quaternary. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tertiary is the service industry.
Yeah. I think I remember touching on that in modern studies or something like that back in the day.
Geography, anything like that, yeah.
Yeah. It's just one of these subjects that I was interested in but never excelled in.
That's all I excelled in. Only skill.
I think, I think what I find most interesting about sort of geography and modern studies is difference in culture.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably my biggest thing. It's like, so I used to be very much anti anime. I used to be really against weebs and stuff. And then the more I watched and the more I kind of learned about different cultures, the more I kind of it grew on me. To the point where I would fucking love to go and stay in a different country to experience the culture and learn about it and just take it in as a whole. Probably Japan and the kind of East Asian cultures in particular, just because they're so distant. Yeah, they're so different. They're so distant from our own. It's just fascinating to me to see the social norms. So even something as simple as burping, burping to us something quite rude, and you apologise for it. Whereas in I think it's India, you burp and it shows you've enjoyed your meal, and the more you burp, the more polite you are. And it's I don't know what it is. It just fascinates me that at the end of the day, we're all pretty much the same. I bet there's somebody in probably Italy, there's probably somebody in Azerbaijan, there's probably somebody in Serbia, there's Siberia, China, Japan, and they all have the same thought process as us, almost. There's somebody out there that probably thinks the same as you, but has a completely different lifestyle and a completely different culture. And I think that's the thing that fucking amazes me, and that's what makes me want to travel and experience different cultures and stuff.
Oh, definitely. I do agree with you. Asia is probably my area of interest when it comes to travel. And I do think it's because of distance, It's the opposite end of the world. is probably the least similar to us. So it fascinates us, you know. We want to see how these people live, how these people enjoy life, you know. Because it's unique, and we've been fascinated by it for years because of globalization.
It is. It's like it's an odd thing though, because you seem to appreciate these things from afar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can appreciate cultures and you can appreciate your differences on the outside, but once it comes to your own culture, it's almost you don't want it to invade. I suppose like it's a feeling of I suppose the word would be patriotism to your culture.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So like obviously me being Scottish, you know,
You don't want to overstep.
yeah, it's like I like a good curry, and you know I like noodles and I like rice, you know, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that to be the only thing I eat, and I think it's important to, while still respecting other cultures, kind of remember your own as well and respect your own, as well as, you know, other people respecting your culture and you respecting theirs, and it's kind of like a balance of a mixture whilst also keeping the independence, sort of like when we were talking about the relationships. It's kind of like it's important to have your individuality, but it's also important to
Respect your roots.
Respect your roots, but also respect other people's.
Yeah, it's all about knowing where you come from, acknowledging that, but also embracing other cultures. You know, because that's the only way we'll move forward. You know, if we keep hating each other for being any bit different, we're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, as a Brit, I mean, there's so many things shit about us that. I mean, I'd rather another culture comes over and educates us in more ways, make us better, because everyone needs to get better in some way.
Yeah, I have to say, like, I am so glad that, you know, noodles were brought to this country, because I don't think I could live without a bowl of noodles. You know, because it's a god food, honestly.
And to think, I mean, instant noodles were invented after World War II because there wasn't enough food for everyone. That's just crazy how it works, you know.
I know, because as I said, like if you look at World War II, you know, it's probably one of the worst kind of losses of life in architecture, and basically it was just one of the worst periods in history. But it also brought about some of the greatest advancements, and it makes me wonder if, you know, maybe these moments of hardship and sacrifice are necessary to better everybody else. You know what I mean? Maybe,
yeah, you wouldn't be around if it wasn't for that World War II.
Yeah, like maybe not, you know, killing off millions of people, but I mean, like, there needs to be some reason to need to advance. Because if we're all just twiddling our thumbs like we have been doing during the COVID, like what's the most fucking this year, right? What's the most like interesting thing that you've seen that's new come about?
I can't even think.
No.
I can't even think of one.
No. Because we've all just been sitting with our thumbs up our arse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, all I've been doing is uni work or sitting doing fuck all. So, you know.
Yeah. It's like we've got the vaccine, but like people aren't even getting that until later on this year. So it's like everything's just been put on pause because nobody's doing anything. But
And my whole uni stuff has just been put into through, you know?
yeah.
Internships been ruined, classwork's been ruined. It's going to be very hard, you know, to move on from this.
Yeah. And I think that's really, interested me as well with the whole pandemic. It was pretty deadly. Like, I actually know some people that have passed away due to COVID. And it's... I'm not going to deny people haven't died, but it makes you imagine, like, if it was apocalyptic sort of intensity, that we got a taste of what that's like, because you see it in like movies and video games and all sorts of media, like a deadly virus breaking out, and we got a taste of that.
Yeah.
And I think it would be interesting to see in like a real life scenario how the world would adapt to a more aggressive threat.
Yeah.
Where we have to band together as one, as a race, like as a species.
Apocalypse, though.
Yeah. Because I've seen a lot of people who have like really supported their fellow man during these hard times, and I'd like to think that if the worst scenario happened, we would stay the same. But if I'm looking at it realistically, I don't think that would translate. Sure enough, there would be the occasional, good community of people trying to help. But I think if the virus got any worse, I think it would be every man for himself.
No, yeah, definitely. I think it would be. It'd be every family trying to look out for their own. I mean, who cares about other people when your children are dying, you know?
Yeah. But then again, that's the thing. Like, what's the point in raising your kids if there's nobody else for your kids to raise more kids with?
Exactly. It's a very short-sightedness of us, you know?
Mm-hmm. But you look at even the great apes, like chimps and stuff. They have conflicts and wars over territory.
Yeah.
And it's like, we aren't that far off the chimps and the great apes, so it's almost as if it's ingrained in our DNA to fight and hate each other, which is, I don't know, it's one of these things that, you kind of look back on and you're like, there's always been conflict, and the fact that the world we're living in now is one of the most peaceful times, and there's still people getting, like, excuse me, there's still people like getting bombed in their houses, and like their whole villages are being wiped out. It's just, it makes me wonder if we will ever actually find peace within
with ourselves.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever see it in my lifetime, and I doubt the next generation or the generation after that will see it.
I mean, I think we're living through one of the great filters, you know? We have climate change and we have the continuous threat of nuclear war over our shoulders.
Yeah.
I think we're worthy enough to overcome that. Because I do personally think that nuclear weapons are not a threat to us.
No.
In the way we think they are. I think they're literally just a threat, you know? They're nothing more than that.
Yeah.
You know, they're a piece of pressure you use against another nation to get them to do what you want. These days, I mean, obviously, like in the last, in this century so far, that's been the case. But in the 20th century, obviously, that was different. You know, with the Cold War.
Yeah.
But I think we're a little bit past that.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope so. I do think climate change is our biggest challenge.
I think climate change is, you know, it's a serious issue, definitely. But I also feel like humans are like a cancer, and the fact that they're so adaptable and they're so driven to grow that no matter what fucking comes at them, they will fight until their last breath to overcome it. And you know, we've seen it before with the whole ice age. You know, we lived through that. And I've seen there's some theories about the whole climate change just being like an intermediary between ice ages. So we've just come out of one, and this is kind of like the peak of the heat before we go back into the next one. And that theory's really appealed to me. I don't know why. I like snow. So
I agree.
It's like
That'd be cool.
another ice age would be fucking cool. Because like you see the landscape that's created from the last one. Like,
yeah,
I'm not a like Spanish islands, Greek island kind of holiday guy. My dream holiday would be going to like the Finnish mountains, or does Finland have mountains?
no,
No,
just lakes.
just lakes. Yeah, I thought so. But like go to like the Russian mountains or the Swiss Alps, or you know, somewhere that's got like really impressive, like towering mountains and mountains of snow. That's the kind of shit that I would love to go on a holiday to. But because, you know, I'm Scottish, I don't share that opinion with nearly anybody. Everybody here wants to like go to Spain or Greece or Portugal or, you know,
It's
Turkey.
annoying.
It's like,
It's so annoying because I mean, I can't be arsed with that shit.
no,
You know, I need something else. It may not be like, as you said, cold and mountains, but it will be something. You know, whether it's, I mean, attractions or sightseeing moments or just something. You know, so history.
yeah.
I need something other than just it's hot, because hot doesn't appeal to me.
No, hot does not appeal to me either. If it's trees, if it's mountains, if it's lakes, if it's snow, if it's, you know, I don't know. Like, I think Tokyo is probably a big one for me. Oh, excuse me. Tokyo is probably a big one for me because, you know, in Scotland, I think the biggest city is like Edinburgh or Glasgow. And you know, that you think, wow, that's big.
Yeah.
You're like, when you're in Glasgow, you're like, holy shit, this is big. But then you look at like Tokyo on a map, And it just keeps going and going and going, and you're like, holy fuck. And I think that's why, like you just look at the map and it's just grey from like concrete, and you're like, damn, that's like, I want to see that. And
Yeah.
I think that's what boggles my mind, is the fact that like somebody who lives in Tokyo, right? They probably wake up in the morning and they see that expansive grey every single morning, every single night when they go to bed, and they don't think anything different of it. And then they look at Scotland, where like it's just green and hills everywhere, and they're mesmerised. Whereas we look at like the apartments that are built up, and they're like they're not even 2 bedroom, they're like 1 room apartments, and you're like, that is insane.
Yeah.
And I think that's what like boggles my mind most. Is the fact that to them that's mundane, whereas to us it's immaculate, and to us a field with like 2 cows in it is like the most boring shit, whereas to like a Japanese like businessman, a field with 2 sheep or 2 cows in it is the most beautiful scene he's ever like gazed upon.
That's fat material, you know?
Yeah, it's just I just love that. I just fucking love that.
So that begs the question.
Mm-hmm.
When are we moving to Japan, Josh?
When can you get a job at Nintendo?
Like 3 years maybe.
Okay, and when can you learn Japanese?
3 years. Give me 3 years.
3 years then. We'll be moving in 3 years.
Okay. I'll hold you to that.
Bro, I would
The
love
day
to
I
stay
move
in
to Japan is the day I move to Japan is the day you're getting your visa. I'm telling you.
Bro. Could you imagine us like fucking wandering about Tokyo? Like, oh my god, I've seen this place in an anime. Anime-sana, Joshu-sana, Shonu-sana.
I mean, coming back to the whole thing about moving abroad and like leaving things behind.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say, I mean, this is gonna sound really sad, maybe, but I can't leave you behind, man. Like, you're the thing I miss the most.
Oh.
Obviously, like, you know, because I'll bring like idea and stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
other than,
she's
like,
stuck with you.
Yeah, other than things I'm legally obligated to say, just stuff with me. Yeah, I miss you the most.
Oh man, that's it. You know, like I don't think I would move anywhere else without bringing you with me. Not only because like I'd miss you, but also because like I feel like you'd be missing out on the experiences that I'd have, if that makes sense. Like, say I moved to like Latvia tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Latvia's not the most exciting place in the world, but it's so different. Like I'd want to have you guys there with me to experience that. If that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, like you want the people you care most about to be there with you.
But it's also as if it's like a fine line, because like there's people you really want to experience a new life with, but there's also people from where you are right now that you don't want to experience it with, because they're the reason you can experience something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I really want to stay in America for a while. Just to see what it's like to be an American for even like a month or maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Basically, all I want to do is shoot an automatic rifle. I just want to see what that's like. To go brrrr, and drive like a modified car down a really long straight road. Because like if you look at a map of America, right? most of it's fucking empty. It's just like roads that just go on for forever, and there's nothing there.
Did you know that America modeled their interstates after the autobahn?
I did not know that.
Because after World War II, they invaded Germany. They saw the state of the German highways and stuff, and they took notes. They wanted to remodel their road network after the autobahn, and that came into place as the highways.
That
like
does
Route
make
66.
sense. That does make sense. Because if you look at you look at American media, when it comes to like the highways and stuff, it's all normally around the 50s and 60s, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only one that comes to mind is Grease Lightning for me, and Dirty Dancing, where they've just got like massive interstates, as they call them.
Yeah.
I think that's cool as shit. Just big long roads with just wilderness in between them.
That's the Pacific Northwest for you.
That's the south as well. I'm telling you, Texas is empty. Texas is empty apart from like 3 cities.
Yeah, apart from what? Austin, Houston, and Dallas. Yeah. Other than those 3, it's fucking empty.
Around about the coast as well. See, if you go down towards the coast, between there, the coast between there and Louisiana, it's just like littered with interesting individuals, shall we say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immigrants.
Oh god. I think if I was to live anywhere in America, it'd probably be in one of like the more like obscure states like Vermont, or like what's the one Chicago's in, is it Iowa? No.
Iowa.
Is it?
Yeah, Iowa is where a lot of potatoes are grown, I think.
Oh, see you go. I like potatoes. So
A lot of wheat fields, I think. Yeah.
Iowa, like
It's part of the Midwest, I think. Just barely.
Basically anything north. Anything kind of more northern and more kind of like nobody really cares about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't be arsed.
Like the
You go.
The US states that no one from the UK could actually name,
Yeah, basically.
Oh shit.
Basically. Like Pennsylvania. That's not even in. That's Europe.
No,
Pennsylvania is the one in Europe. Pennsylvania is the one next to New Jersey, yeah.
Yeah.
But like Maryland and like the one next to Ohio that I always forget the name of.
Indiana. Illinois. Those kind of places.
Those kind of places. Yeah, these are the kind of places that I'd like to live.
You know what, Josh? If you're an American, let's say you were born in America,
right? Okay.
I think you would be born in Montana.
You think so?
Yeah, I think you're a Montana boy.
I think you'd be Jersey.
You think I'd be Jersey?
Yeah, just because that's where all the Irish people are. Hey Tony, you want coffee, Tony?
Hey man.
Wait, it's Boston is what I meant. Italians are in Jersey.
Yeah.
Boston's where all the Irish folk are.
Yo, you're completely right, because I was going to say Massachusetts is where I'd want to be.
Yep. Boston, Massachusetts.
I don't know if you remember from high school, but do you remember the American program?
Yeah.
For people who want to visit America?
I was going to say it was Osama bin Laden.
The Fulbright scholarship.
Obama.
The Fulbright shit.
Yep. Fulbright.
Yeah,
I remember
if I
that.
got accepted, I would have applied for Boston University,
Mm.
and I would have moved to America, and that would have been it. My whole life would be different. I'd be single. I'd be sad because I'd be
In America.
American.
At least you'd have a gun.
True. Actually, maybe not in Boston though.
No, probably not in Boston. I mean, you could probably get a, like a 9mm, something
Maybe.
small.
Something small, like my penis.
Yeah. See, that's why like the northern states interest me, because like you get the Canadian, like Scottish climate, but you get the American gun control of
Yeah.
that there isn't any. It's like you want to own a 50 cal, you can, because you live in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Like
No
it's
neighbours.
like, yeah, it's like you want a 50 cal sniper rifle. Sure, going for it.
Do you want to fuck your cousin? Too bad, she's the only female around.
Within like 45 miles.
Yeah.
God, it's like fucking.
Oh, God.
It's like
Sad time.
it's like in Iceland how they have that app that detects
Yeah.
if the person's related to you, because the population is so small. It's like, are you having incest? No. Okay, that's good. Are you having incest? Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah. Oh, that's good too. Continue.
That's it.
Anyway, what are we talking about?
I think we were talking about the
Vietnam War.
Vietnam War. that's that's something I've noticed. We don't have wars anymore. We have quote unquote conflicts.
Emergencies.
Yeah, what happened to
Interventions.
good old fashioned, conventional warfare? Bring that back.
I think war became unattractive to Europeans.
Is that it?
Yeah, literally. I mean, look at I think it was the Malaysian emergency. That was it was pretty much a fucking horrible event by the British to do horrible things to the Malaysian and Indonesian population.
Mm-hmm.
And they named it an emergency, but in reality it was basically an act of war, if not terror.
Yeah.
I mean, they cut off people's heads, Josh. You know what I mean?
I did not know that. I have to say I'm not well versed in the.
If you type in Malay emergency, you'll find out.
I'll definitely do that. That'll be nice reading for me to head off to sleep with. Because I think the last big one that I remember, at least, was Iraq. Because that was what, 2008, 2009?
Even before that, yeah, 2003 maybe even.
Yeah, I remember it. It was
Tony Blair.
It was definitely about when I was wee, but old enough to know it was going on. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's like the last, because Iraq was like, wasn't it against like Iraq though? It wasn't like just against, as if we take Afghanistan or Syria for example, it wasn't just against what would you call it?
Terrorists,
Yeah.
insurrectionists.
Yeah, it was like against the proper faction. It wasn't just a militia.
I mean, I think we see this a lot. Libya was against Gaddafi. Iraq was against Saddam Hussein. Iraq was against the Taliban. But the US obviously installed the Taliban in power by accident.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like something like the Americans gave the Taliban a load of guns. And then the Taliban blew up America, and they're like, wait, no.
Yeah, it was because basically the CIA trained the Taliban to fight the Soviets.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
But in the modern day, 2001, the Taliban decided that
America bad.
Yeah, because the America backed is Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and the Taliban were against Israel, obviously, because they saw them as imperialists. The Taliban decided to blow up the Twin Towers.
Mm-hmm. Cough, cough,
I mean,
free Palestine, cough, cough.
I don't condone any of it. It's a tragedy, but
Yeah, definitely.
I would say that both sides kind of had an argument to be made.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously agree that there's no excuse for a loss of human life.
No, definitely not.
But I do see that the Taliban, in their fucked up ways, they had their argument and they were going to stick to it.
Yeah.
And it's probably a good thing that we're killing. Well, not that we're killing them, but that they're gone.
Yeah. Well, when was the last time you heard about them? It was like, what, 2018? Into 2018?
The last time, yeah. Because
be quiet after that.
The US pulled out of Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
And they left behind, I think they left behind about 100,000 troops.
Mm.
But their entire purpose is to maintain the ring road around the country.
Yeah, the Taliban maintain the highway.
Yeah, but the Taliban have slowly encroached upon that.
I thought they were pushed back into Syria, though, and that's what the whole Syrian conflict was about.
No, that's about, is it ISIS?
Yeah. No, the Taliban's different. Yeah, sorry, my mistake.
Yeah. I mean, ISIS is pretty much gone at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have successor states, or they have other states that are similar to them, like the one in Africa, the one in Nigeria. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh God. I know the one that's in Sudan. That one that's having a big issue. Like North and South Sudan, that's just been at war since Sudan formed.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing in Sudan is about if you look at a religious map of Sudan before the split, you see that South Sudan was Christian and North Sudan was Islam.
That's always like really like I never understood, because I would have thought it was the other way around, but then I remember that. Because you have the colonisation, they kind of went from the Ivory Coast upwards,
yeah,
like down and up, and then the Muslims and the Islam, all that, they kind of went from Middle East downwards. So that's where the clash happened.
I would say that even since back in the 9th century, the 7th century. With Muslim, I wouldn't say invaders, but Muslim hordes and stuff, traveling from even the Middle East all the way to Spain. Basically, I would say that Islam has its core among Northern Africa, and the Middle East, where it originated. So I would say that it's quite clear that obviously Islam is deep-rooted in Africa, especially among the northern parts of Africa. Like the Saharan zones.
Yeah.
So the place I was talking about was Boko Haram, and they have a grip on northern Nigeria. I mean, this is the least populated and probably the most impoverished part of Nigeria, because it's closer to the Sahara. It's closer to neighbouring countries like Chad and is it Niger?
Don't even ask. Anything sort of south of Morocco or Egypt, I am a no-go. And anything north of South Africa, no-go.
I mean, I know all 54 African countries, but I know that most people don't. Because it's very hard to learn this shit.
Yeah,
basically,
it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, Boko Haram basically is centered around northern Nigeria and Lake Chad,
and
they're basically a part of ISIS for the African part.
Yeah,
it's just crazy stuff,
Africa's.
I feel bad. Because I know it's partly our ancestors' fault.
Yeah, I feel bad, but also at the same time, I feel like we should just let it go. Like just let them sort themselves out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like I feel like we get involved far too much.
I agree.
We're trying to right our wrongs, and all we're doing is making shit worse. Like, just fucking let them get on with it. They'll figure out that drinking cholera water is bad eventually. Hopefully.
I think we already have.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, but that was after fucking how long? How long have we been there? Like early 80s, have we not? Trying to like give them proper water and like school and education. Like, no,
I mean,
don't fucking drink muddy water, you dumb cunts. Like,
I mean, obviously, we've been there since before the World Wars.
yeah.
But let's say like the end of World War II is when we finally started to like pull out of that area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm talking about us as British people,
Yeah.
not as like us personally.
Yeah, I was there in
Bro,
1940.
Bro, I was there at the Battle of Rorke's Drift. You know, I'm a British diehard. You know, totally. Even though I'm from the oppressed peoples of Ireland, you know.
Aye, the real oppressed nation.
The real victims.
I remember I was watching Hell on Wheels. It's a really good show. I recommend it if you've not seen it. And there was the Freemen, which were African Americans, and the Irishmen, and kind of it was the 1800s, so they were building the Transcontinental Railway, and one of the Irishmen said to one of the Freemen, he was like, "You don't need to lecture us about the hardships because we're the N-words of the British Empire." I was like, I feel that. I'm not even Irish, and I feel that.
Right. I am obviously, I was born in Ireland and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I never felt that. But my family has. And I would tell you that it definitely felt that way.
Yeah.
For them,
Yeah.
It definitely felt like you're lesser than.
Yeah.
I'm glad that these days my family doesn't have to experience that.
Yeah. I feel like.
But my aunt, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say that I feel like Ireland nowadays. I'm sure I've heard that there's still issues going on there with the Sinn Féin and the IRA and stuff. But like, I think it's so odd that like nowadays, especially I don't know what it's like down in England, but in Scotland, religion seems to be sort of like non-existent, I suppose. You've got you've got the you've got Islam, and you've kind of got nothing else. Like, nobody really takes religion as seriously anymore, is what I feel. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I think I kind of disagree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean we have Rangers and Celtic, our two largest football teams.
Yeah.
And it's like they're torn apart by anti-Semitism. One part is Catholic, the other part is Protestant.
You're saying that, and I do, get the divide. I can see it's clear. Like, the Rangers and the Celtic fans, they both hate each other. But like I don't see it as a religious thing anymore. I think I see it as just a colours thing. Because see, I'm friends with both Rangers fans and Celtic fans, and not one of them do I know that goes to church.
Yeah, I do agree with you with that.
Whereas like my granddad, sorry to cut you off, but like say my granddad's generation, right? they were
Uh-huh.
heavily influenced by the church. Like, they would go every Sunday, they would go to mass, they would like go to, what's the thing when they say forgiveness and stuff, confessions, and
Maths, is it?
what's the other one?
Confession.
There's another one as well.
Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, basically they were hardcore Catholics, and the other side were like hardcore Protestants. But I think kind of died off, like in the 90s and the 80s, when my parents were born. Their generation, they didn't really seem to care as much. And I was raised under the kind of, how would you put it? I was raised under the idea that, just believe in whatever the fuck you want. Like, my parents were just like, they wanted me to they wanted us to form our own beliefs and ideals and interpretations. They heavily pushed that. And, whenever we had questions, they would give us the most truthful answer they could. And looking at it with the people I know now, and looking at my parents' generation, at least, I just don't see that religious aspect of it. Whereas when I look at my grandparents, I can heavily see the influence they had.
Yeah.
And I think it is, with the whole anti-Semitism of the Rangers and Celtic, I feel like it is mostly just you're Celtic, we're supposed to hate you, and you're Rangers, we're supposed to hate you, because that's what we've learned.
Yeah, and you're right. Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No, I was just saying, it's not anything to do with you're Protestant, you're Catholic, it's just you're green, you're blue. Whereas with Ireland, from what I've heard, it is still you're Catholic, you're Protestant.
Yeah, I would agree with you. With Rangers and Celtic, it is a green versus blue thing these days.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to Ireland, I would say that in some ways it is still a Catholic versus Protestant thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as a lot of people come away from that anti-Semitism, and they come away from the idea of uniting the whole island under Ireland, one country. It has changed. I mean, yes, obviously, Sinn Féin has won the recent election. They have received a lot more votes than usual, but for United Ireland. And I do think this is a thing that a lot of people, Irish people want. I mean, I personally do wish that a United Ireland is eventually achievable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a religious thing. I think it's purely economic. It's purely social. There's so many things about it. Because, I mean, Northern Ireland as an entity, it's very complicated.
Yeah.
Brexit has made it very difficult for Irish people to visit Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for trade and stuff, so I do think that the recent support for Sinn Féin is all about economic reasons.
Yeah.
We want a United Ireland because it will purely be for economic reasons. It's better for us as a people. But I don't think it's about anti-Semitism anymore.
No, definitely.
There are parts of Belfast that are like that. There's parts of Belfast that are Protestant, part of Belfast that are Catholic, and they hate each other. But it's not about that for the rest of us,
Yeah.
Most of Ireland. Yeah.
Like, I think I'm one of the. I think I would like to see a united Ireland. I think I'm probably. I hope I don't get fucking bombed for this. I'd like to see Ireland as one nation. Because I think that
800 years overdue.
Yeah, definitely. Because I fucking love the Irish. I love everything about them. I I love their accent. I love their whiskey. I love their potatoes. I love their flag. I love their big pointy spire. You know, I like Guinness. I just feel like Ireland is superior to Scotland in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And you know, I might piss a lot of Scottish people off by saying that, but you know what? I don't care. Ireland just seems a way a lot cooler. And if
you know
think
what,
about it. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm cutting you off, but I'm going to say this. Is a lot of people, a lot of Scottish people, even the Scottish identity, is descended from Irish settlers.
Yeah.
Thousands of years ago. So you know what? Irish and Scottish people are pretty much the same. So you know what? Fuck them. Fuck everyone else.
Because I remember... I think I remember somebody saying once was that the best Guinness you can have is in Ireland because they don't really care about the Scottish, but whatever you do, don't drink Guinness in England because they spit in it before they send it over.
I believe that.
I believe that as well.
I mean, in Ireland, we have a saying, you know, it's 800 years of oppression. The English arrived 800 years ago, and it's never been the same since.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, obviously I left Ireland when I was a child, and all my relatives won't say anything bad about me. But there's an impact, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely changed the country. Not only population-wise, because I mean we still haven't recovered from the potato famine, but just in the culture, you know. I mean, you walk into a pub in Ireland and no one's talking about how great the UK is, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's never mentioned. It's all about hurling. It's all about Irish culture, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's the great thing, is that even though we were ruled over by the British Empire for so long, our culture still remains.
Yeah.
And I'm basically Scottish. Let's be real, you know.
Yeah.
I may be Irish, but I'm Scottish mostly.
Yeah.
But I still think that Irish sports, Gaelic sports like hurling and handball, are the best sports around. You know, they're so fun to watch. And I'm going to end my point by saying that next time I go to Ireland, which is going to be soon as COVID's over, I'm taking you and Atia, because I mean, I'm sorry, but you have to come.
No, I'm dying to go to Ireland. It's something I've always wanted to do. Because I feel like I've seen pictures, you know, and you know,
Yeah.
it's like it's one of these things. Like you can look at pictures of like landscapes, and you know you can be impressed by it, but it is completely different to actually be there.
Josh, I'll take you to Dublin to see what like capital is like. Then I'll take you to my family's hometown.
Down in Cork.
Down in Waterford and Cork, yeah. I'll take you to both of them. I'll show you what Ireland is like.
Do a Pogi Vlogs Ireland.
I'll show you my grand's house, I'll show you my auntie's house, I'll show you everything. Because Ireland is such a beautiful country. It may rain all the time because we're the weather shield for the UK.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great place, you know. There's great people. The taxi drivers are the best taxi drivers I've ever known. They're so great, you know. I mean, half of them are immigrants. I'm gonna be honest. Half of them are like immigrants, you know, from like either Eastern Europe or Africa. But they're great, you know.
Bro, I love the Polish. Don't even worry about it.
It's the multiculturalism, you know. Ireland is a great country.
I see. This was the thing I always thought. I thought Ireland was like this kind of backwards nation of like pure Ireland blood, where like anybody new that came in was like silently dealt with. It's like, oh, we can't have any of those fucking Poles coming in here, man. We're getting fucking rid of them right now. You know? Like,
yeah, I mean, if I were you, I'd think the same. But I gotta be honest, I think about 50% of the taxi drivers, who in my opinion have the best accents in the country, I'd say about 50% of them are probably from Africa. You know, they are. I mean, I'm not trying to be racist. I do apologize if I am coming across as insensitive.
Yeah.
But they are black, you know.
Yeah.
And even then, obviously they've been in Ireland a long time. They appreciate the culture. They're great people, you know.
Yeah.
I think anyone who's able to come to a country and accept the way things are and make it better,
Yeah.
make their own life, are great people. You know, I don't care where you're from.
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to make where you are currently better, is a good thing.
I think that's what I probably like most about like Glasgow or Falkirk. It's like, see when you go into a corner store or, you know, even on the streets, and you see somebody who's of Eastern descent, so Middle East descent, and you have this like initial prejudice of, oh, here we go, another Middle Eastern, and they have like the most thickest Scottish accent. It's just so pleasant to see, like, but the fact that they can switch back to their like native tongue and have like the perfect pronunciation of their native tongue, and then go back to like pure Ouija. It's just something about that I love, like the kind of.
Me too, man. Me too.
It's like, what did you say? What was it you said about my Irish accent?
Yours is pretty accurate. I gotta agree to that.
No. You said something about it being posh. What did you say?
Yeah, it's kind of like what you'd expect Irish people to sound like.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think personally, I mean, you probably have more of a southern accent.
Oh,
And I
that's
don't mean
far.
that in a bad thing, because I mean, obviously my family's from the southern part of the country.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a more traditional accent.
I feel
Because
like
I mean,
Northern Ireland's kind of got like a more camper accent, like they're kind of more feminine, if that makes any sense.
did you say the south of them or
No,
no?
North has got a feminine accent.
Yeah, I would agree. Like the further south you go, the more traditional it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my family live on the southern coast. I mean, Waterford, which is where my family lives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in Irish it's Port Larga.
Port Larga.
Port Larga.
Port
But it
Larga.
is like, I mean, it was even a Viking settlement at one point.
Yeah.
There's still that heritage. I mean, when I bring you, I'm bringing you. But they have like all the attractions around the river, which is like Viking, like historical stuff. Like there's even, I think there's a longboat on display.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll bring you one day.
I fucking love the Vikings in Ireland. It's
It's cool
just
stuff.
so cool. So
I mean,
cool.
Obviously the Vikings were there because we couldn't defend ourselves.
Yeah,
But it's still cool shit, you know.
but even like Mercia couldn't defend themselves against the Vikings.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Only Alfred could defend us from the Vikings.
big Alfred. What was it? What was his nickname? Alfred the what?
The Great.
I thought it was the Great, but I was like, that sounds too easy. I think it was like Alfred the Cunning or something like that. No, it's Alfred the Great.
Alfred the Cock.
Yeah, because he just gave. No. I'm a liar. Wasn't his son that gave him all? Alfred's son that gave the Vikings all the gold and still got raided.
It was either his son or it was
Because it definitely wasn't his dad.
his nephew. It might have been his nephew.
It might have been, because I remember his dad. His dad was Cuthbert, was it not?
I'm not sure. It was either that or it was Ethelred.
Ethelred. No, wasn't Ethelred his
brother.
Yeah. No, wasn't his
Yeah.
wasn't his mum Ethelred?
I can't remember.
Something like
All
that.
I know is his nephew was jealous that he was king and not himself because Alfred inherited from his brother.
Yeah.
So his nephew was a bit of a
remember
cuck. And he even sided with the Vikings.
that.
Well, a cuck.
I don't know, man. I think it'd be quite interesting if the Vikings like colonised the whole of Britain
Yeah.
as well as Scandinavia. Because
I mean,
yeah, that would have been because I was just thinking like was it Alfred the Black? No, Sigurd. It was something the Black. Halfdan. It was Halfdan the Black who became king of Norway, which has like never been done before because it was all they had all the jarls who were independent, and then Halfdan the Black became king of Norway.
hmm
But then you had Ragnar and his sons, which were Danish, I think.
yeah, they were. Yeah,
But
like Sigurd was a Dane. Halfdan White Shirt was a Dane, I think. Like the Great Invasion was mostly Danes and Swedish, I think.
because I remember a lot of the Saxons just referred to anybody from Scandinavia as Danes, even though like there was like the Norwegians and the Finnish. And the Finnish didn't really do much. They kind of just vibed up north.
I think back then they weren't even Scandinavian. You know, they were just tribals, like a bit like the Russians were. You know, they were just tribal people. That's why they have a different language. You know,
I think the Finnish is so like. I tried to learn some of it. Sumoi. It's like the most fucking insane language. It's like trying to learn Danish. Danish is just like like what the fuck. Whereas like Finnish is like Vitu Satana helvete. It's more like Swedish than it is like Danish or Norwegian.
Like I think the closest language to Finnish is Hungarian.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like if you look at a map, I'm pretty sure that Hungarian counts as like a Finno-Ugric language.
The language I probably hate most, other than Flemish, is probably Portuguese.
Yeah?
Yeah, because like if you listen to Portuguese, it's like a horrible amalgamation of Spanish and Russian. Even though like there's such a great distance between the two.
I get that. Yeah.
Portuguese is horrible. I hate Portuguese.
Obviously, as a Brit, you know, German, French, Spanish, you cannot understand some of it.
Yeah.
I mean, some more than others. Like, I know more French and German and Spanish.
Ja. Ich bin sehr gut aus Deutsch.
Ich bin
Deutsch ist Lieblingsgut, aber es ist sehr scheiße.
Yeah, like I'd say German is the one I know the most.
Yeah.
Even though I spent most of my high school years learning French.
Dutch is much easier to learn than
Dutch.
Dutch is the easiest language to learn. Yep.
Dutch
is pretty much like a mixture of French, English, and German. So it's kind of like apparently it's the easiest language to learn for English speakers.
You know, I heard the opposite. Well, actually, probably not in regards to English speakers. I heard that Dutch is like the hardest language to learn for like the average person. Just because of how crazy it is, you know. But that's probably because it is a mixture of what you said, you know, English, French, and German.
Well, that's it. See, if you want to say I want bread in Dutch, I think it's like ik wil brood. I think that's what it. So it's like if I said ik wil brood, you'd kind of guess that. Or if you say the cat is long, I think that het is lang. So it's like that is long. What's cat? It's like cat is like just caught. Cat is caught, I think. Yeah. So like Dutch is supposed to be like the easiest language to learn, and I think it's like a.
Interesting.
I think personally, it's almost like a gateway drug to European language. If you learn Dutch, you can kind of learn anything round about it.
Anything in Germanics, you know.
Germanics is the way to go, man.
Yeah, as an English speaker. I mean, we speak a Germanic language. Learning another Germanic language is the easiest path.
Just learn Latin and you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, personally, as my path towards language learning was to go from English to German and then go towards a further away language, like Chinese or something.
I know a tiny bit of Cantonese.
Ni hao.
Ni hao ma.
Yeah.
Goi. Satsu. That's all I know.
Yeah, because
I just know how to say hello, how are you, in 1 to 10.
Yeah. Because, Cantonese is southern China, yeah?
Yeah, that's like Hong Kong. That's what they speak in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
The Mandarin is what they speak in mainland. Mandarin is hard. Japanese is really hard. Fuck, try and learn. I know some really basic Japanese, but it's basically the same as anybody else would know. Hayo gozaimasu, Joshu-san, watashi no Joshu-san. It's like, I know how to say delicious, it's oishi so arigatou gozaimasu, which is that smells or that tastes lovely, thank you very much, something like that.
Yeah.
But Japanese I've heard is like something you take years to learn if you're not in Eastern Asian.
There's a YouTuber I watch. He's lived in Japan for about 7 years now. And he studies Japanese 2 hours every day.
One of my friends is an English teacher in Japan. No, sorry. One of my friend's sisters is an English teacher in Japan. And I follow them on Instagram, and it's really cool to see everything they post, because it's like they're Scottish, but they learned so much Japanese that they're teaching English there.
Yeah,
but they also have they have the same thing, I remember, if I remember correctly, as China does, where the pronunciation of the word determines what the word means. So Mao might be is cat. So if you say Mao, that's cat in Chinese. If you say Mao, that might be like motherfucker. So it depends how you say the words as well.
Yeah. It's because the entire Japanese alphabet is actually copied from China.
I did not know that.
Chinese yeah, back 1,000, if not 2,000 years ago. It's all based off Chinese characteristics.
There you go.
Yeah, I learned that from YouTube. So fun fact.
I remember learning about the northern Japanese, like an island just off of North Japan. And it was basically Japanese people, but they were white. I always forget their name. What were their names?
The Ainu.
Ainu, that's the one.
Yeah, they still exist.
Yeah, but just a very, very small amount of them.
Yeah, they existed up until existed as a people until maybe the 1860s.
Oh damn!
I feel and then they got wiped out by Japanese, imperialism, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, as a foreigner who loves Japan, I'm not too bummed out by that. But it's definitely a blow towards culture, because I feel like these people have a lot of things to teach the rest of us.
Yeah.
But Hokkaido is beautiful. It's one of my top 10 destinations. To go to the northern island of Japan.
Northern Japan makes the best alcohol as well.
Best alcohol, best weather for us anyway. Best food. I just want to go to northern Japan. Fuck the rest.
Yeah. As long as for me personally, if there's twisted and turny roads and Japanese sports cars, I'm happy. If I can go sideways round a mountain, I'm happy. If there's cute Japanese girls in the passenger seat, I'm happy. So that's the thing, man. Fucking Scottish girls. Once you've seen one, you've seen all of them. Not gonna like. I'm not gonna like. I'm not gonna lie to you. They all look the same to me. Like you do get some that are like, okay, yeah, you're pretty cute, but like, most of the time they're all the fucking same.
I mean, in my lifetime, I've had attraction to 3 girls. You know, and I'd say only one of them was Scottish.
Bro, I fall in love every day of the week.
It's very hard for me, you know.
No, I get that. I do get that. But it's like I've always had a, how do you say it? I've always had a foreign taste. You know what I mean?
Me too. Yeah.
I think probably my favourite's probably like Polish. Like round about that region, like Russian, Polish, Latvian.
Yeah.
Basically anything Eastern or Northern, that's my like go-to. And then obviously you got the Japanese and Koreans and Chinese, they're all pretty cute as well.
Yeah.
But hey-ho. Hey-ho.
It just depends, you know.
It does. It does. Oh man. It's like... oh. Right, well, that it's 5 to 4 in the morning. So I think we might call it quits there.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Sean.
No problem.
For 1%.
It's been a pleasure.
Only, for being the first honorary guest of the Pogi's Podcast 2021.
Hooray.
We need to find. I've had too much wine and port. We need to find more people. We need to find more people to come on this.
Bro, I'll cross-dress if we need to.
Bro, you can make so much money.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe, and if we reach 2 subscribers, 1% will dress up as a girl. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm up for that.
I'll subscribe to myself. You subscribe, and that'll give us a reason to dress up as cam girls.
Well, set up a Pornhub account.
Bro,
At 10 subscribers.
like I honestly think, right? See if I was a girl, I would totally exploit my body for money.
Yeah?
Yeah, like actually no, because I say that now being a man, because like obviously I think the human body, regardless of the sexuality, is extremely attractive. Like there's something about it, you know, male or female, it's just appealing to look at. And not even like in a sexually arousing way. It's just aesthetically pleasing. The female body, however, to me, is a lot more.
A work of art.
It is. It's like a work of art. It's like it's yeah, it is. Especially in midriff, you know what I mean? Like the fucking stomach. And I suppose that's from a evolutionary standpoint, because that's where the babies get. So that's the point we like most, because that's the point we're supposed to protect. That's where the babies are.
Yeah.
It's these things that I think about at 4 in the morning. These are the things also ensure that I will stay single. You like midriffs, huh? You like a bit of the old belly button? Oh god. Yeah, you know, it's just. What was I saying? So before that.
Hentai is love. Hentai is life.
Hentai is love. Hentai is life. Thanks for joining. Me and 1%, aka Sean, on our first ever Pogi's podcast. So I don't know about you, but I'm about to fucking pass out and cry. I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay, night.
Night, man. Thanks for.
No problem.
It was a good chat. A good
I'm
2
not
hours and
paranoid.
30 minutes. Can't wait to compress this and upload it to YouTube.
Good luck uploading this shit. That's gonna take a while.
Did I not tell you about my upload being a lot faster than my download? I've got like
Really?
I've got like a 20 meg upload, not 17 download.
Shit, son.
People are very confused about it, but yes. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you did watch,
Bye bye.
bye from me and Sean. Bye bye.
Bye bye.